Last week in Michigan politics, the Supreme Court weighing in on several landmark cases, how they could affect us here in Michigan. And a done deal, Michigan lawmakers voting to send a record-setting state budget onto Governor Gretchen Whitmer, with some top funding coming right here to West Michigan. And eyes on the road, what you need to know about a new law that bans holding a phone while driving. I'm Josh Alburtus, and this is your 13 on your side rundown. Thank you for joining us, West Michigan. Our top headline this week, the Supreme Court unveiling multiple major rulings that could mean major changes for many here in Michigan. On Friday, the court ruling to strike down President Biden's student debt forgiveness plan, for which hundreds of thousands of Michigan borrowers may have been eligible to have $10,000 or even $20,000 forgiven. The court also ruling in favor of a Colorado website designer, saying businesses offering expressive goods like websites have a First Amendment freedom not to provide services to LGBTQ individuals. And on Thursday, the court handed down a decision on affirmative action. In a 6-3 vote, the justices ruling colleges cannot consider a person's race as a factor in their admissions process. But here in Michigan, that practice has already been banned since 2006. 13 on your side's Charlie Tinker explains how it's affected the state's universities and how we could be a sign of what's to come.
One of the state's largest public institutions, the University of Michigan, slamming the ruling in a Thursday statement. President Santaono writing he was, quote, deeply disheartened, going on to predict that, like Proposal 2, the move would have negative impacts on minorities and make it, quote, much more difficult to achieve racial diversity. A snapshot of enrollment data showing underrepresented minorities overall had recovered from what the university described as a decade of decline following the passage of Proposal 2. At 15% of the total, those numbers do show improvement over 2006, when it stood just under 13%. The numbers tell a different story, though, within individual groups. Fewer black students, for instance, declining to 4.5% from 7% more than a decade earlier. Same for Native Americans, where the drop was even more pronounced, plummeting from 1% to around a tenth of that last year. Only the Hispanic population saw gains.
The Supreme Court's decision will have very little impact on the way in which we approach university admissions.
Since the ban went into effect, the Grand Valley State University president says the focus has been on creating campus diversity in other ways.
Our values remain on educational equity, but it will have no real material effect.
Another statement from Michigan State University, quote, carefully reviewing the ruling also. Quote, all Spartans benefit from a more diverse student body, faculty, and staff. Touting campus DEI initiatives and race-neutral procedures, U of M said it was still making diversity strides. Yet undeniable declines observed since the state ban took effect could mirror enrollment changes over time elsewhere, in other states and in Michigan's more than 40 private colleges and universities. Charlie Tinker, 13 on your side.
And now at the state capitol, a record-setting $82 billion state budget is now on its way to Governor Whitmer. It includes funding for things like free universal breakfast for lunch for all public K-12 students, and some of the highest funding in certain categories is set for services right here in West Michigan. It's a done deal in the Michigan legislature for the state's nearly $82 billion budget. Lawmakers voting Wednesday evening to pass the budget on to Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The budget sets aside some of the highest funding in certain categories for services in West Michigan, including $35 million for the Grand Rapids Fire Department.
I was ecstatic. I had told them that, we would take 20 if we could just get 20. And they did what good government should do, and they worked together.
The new funding, the fire chief said, will be put toward building a new fire station on Kalamazoo Avenue and hiring new personnel.
This money will save lives, period. We're getting more people in the right places. Morale is improved. The citizens should see better service. And frankly, they're going to see better looking fire stations in their community.
Other local institutions also set to receive top funding, including over $16 million to Grand Valley State University. At an almost 20% increase from last year, it's the largest percent increase for any public university in the state.
This is going to be one of our largest entering classes in our history. Our education is really drawing people into Michigan and staying in Michigan. So my expectation was, of course, any good investor will support that kind of value, and they have. So I'm just really grateful.
The funding coming as a welcome relief for both entities as they look to improve their presence in the community. And Friday was the first day Michigan's new distracted driving law went into effect. Under the new law, you cannot hold your phone while driving to call, text, or scroll. 13 on your side's Carla Byron went on a ride along with the Kent County Sheriff's Office to see how their first day of enforcement went.
The purpose of today wasn't to write citations, rather to educate drivers on the new law.
Let's see if we can get up next to her. She's on her phone right now.
Between 10:30 a.m. and noon Friday, Kent County Deputy Michael Scalisi pulled over 3 drivers for violating Michigan's new distracted driving law.
Just so you know, they did just enact a law that says you can't have your phone in your hand for anything. Okay. So you either have to be using your Siri or like a voice to active. That kind of thing.
This driver had no idea the law had passed.
When you say, yeah, I saw her holding her phone, it was an iPhone in a gold case, that kind of speaks to the accuracy of what I observed. Not just, yeah, she was holding the phone, but what the phone actually looks like.
Holding your phone while driving is completely illegal. And if on an attachment, anything more than a punch or swipe is a violation of the law.
So it kind of depends on what the situation is, but I would prefer to educate somebody for the first few weeks here to let word get out, to let this be broadcasted that, yeah, you can't use your phone while you're driving anymore. So you're going to a call right now.
Yeah. A tow truck driver was pulled over next who thought he was exempt from the law because of his profession.
But it's still a learning curve. I don't remember seeing that tow drivers are exempt from this. I know police, fire, EMS, in performance of their duties are exempt from it, but I don't remember seeing tow drivers.
Indeed, tow truck drivers are not mentioned in the statute.
Did you know about the new law that was just...
not.
Okay.
So what is that law?
Last was a driver looking and scrolling through her phone at a red light. Yeah, it's illegal to do that now too.
Again, it takes your distraction off the road and off the surrounding area, and now you're buried in your phone. You might miss a green light, you might miss something else.
Deputy Scalisi hopes by word of mouth, more people will become aware of the new law.
We all know how bad drinking and driving is, and driving under the influence of drugs, but we're multiplying this 3 times because of distracted driving. That's definitely something that we need to address. And I do think this law gives us a little bit more edge as far as being able to enforce it.
Bottom line, if you're caught with your phone in your hands, you could be handed a ticket. Reporting in Kent County, Carla Byron, 13 on your side.
And state lawmakers this week also voted to send a flurry of bills to Governor Whitmer's desk in the lead up to the budget. These included bills to allow the sale of alcohol at college sporting events, as well as a ban on mental health professionals practicing conversion therapy on minors. Conversion therapy being when someone seeks to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. And the Biden administration announcing more than $40 billion to connect more people across the country with high-speed internet, including here in Michigan. More than $1.5 billion is set to come to Michigan for that plan, known as the Broadband Equity, Access, and Deployment Program. It's the 4th highest grant funding in the nation, with Governor Whitmer calling it a game-changing investment. The plan for how to put those funds to use here in Michigan is expected to play out over a 5-year period. And to the latest controversy in Ottawa County, commissioners there are approving 2 resolutions Tuesday night that have drawn divided responses from the community.
This is a request.
County controversy as Ottawa County commissioners voted to approve 2 widely debated resolutions on Tuesday. One resolution included, quote, protecting childhood innocence following concerns over the county's health department attending local LGBTQ pride events to offer vaccines and testing.
Be it further resolved, no county staff or resources shall be allocated to activities, programs, events, content, or institutions which support, normalize, or encourage the sexualization of children and youth.
County Health Officer Adeline Hambley responding Wednesday to that resolution, saying, quote, our staff have never provided services to sexualize or abuse children. The health officer has explicit legal authority and responsibilities under the Michigan Public Health Code to prevent disease, prolong life, and promote public health for everyone. Commissioners on Tuesday also narrowly approved a separate resolution censuring Commissioner Jacob Bonema for initiating an HR investigation into Administrator John Gibbs after a tense exchange exchange at a meeting earlier this year. The censure requested he be removed from one of his committees.
I believe the Board of Commissioners should hold Commissioner Bonema responsible for the lost cost, lost time, and lost reputation of the county and our county administrator, John Gibbs, for filing an inappropriate action against Mr. Gibbs.
Bonema represents District 4 of Ottawa County, which includes thousands of residents here in the city of Zeeland. Some of them came out last night to express concerns over a censure they say takes away their voice.
Jacob Bonema is my commissioner, and if you vote to censure him, you are silencing my community and me, and that is not okay.
Bonema responding to the censure during the meeting.
We were elected to be fearless, and yet fear of debate, dissent, and due process lead the county's leadership today. This resolution of censure, which Chairman Moss has placed before the Commission, violates this vow for liberty and nearly every part of the contract with Ottawa.
While the censure itself is only a request from the board to remove Bonema from his committee, Chairman Joe Moss did vote for the resolution and expressed support for the idea of removing him. In Ottawa County, Josh Alburtus, 13 on your side. And that's the rundown for your week in Michigan politics. Be sure to keep up with all the top political stories of the day on air and online at our website, 13onyourside.com. We'll see you next week.